our next article here. This one is right in your ballpark, Ritu, as the AI person on the show. You talk about AI quite a bit in different summits and such. So the days of price gouging are over, says Andrew Bell. Now, customers now have proof with Rufus. Amazon's Rufus AI assistant now provides shoppers with 90 days of price history, giving them visibility into past pricing and real discounts. This means customers can easily detect price gouging, making transparency more critical than ever for sellers. For Amazon sellers, adapting to this change means focusing on competitive, trust-driven price strategies to maintain sales and customer loyalty. Those who embrace honest pricing will be in the best position to thrive in this new era of e-commerce transparency. So we can dive into this and talk about this pricing graph, but I'd also like to hear your guys' thoughts on the overall effect that Rufus has and the AI in general on the Amazon platform. So Ritu, go ahead. I'll let you dive into it here.
Yeah, so my thoughts on Rufus are that, right now Rufus is like this little button that's kind of tucked away, on the menu bar, and sometimes you see glimpses of it, sprinkled in to the product detail page. And its presence isn't known widely or felt yet by shoppers. Like they know that it's kind of like suggestions are made from time to time. But if you ask someone, a shopper, like, "Oh, do you know about Rufus?" They probably don't know. And in fact, I was having this conversation just yesterday with someone, and this person says, "So what is Rufus? Like, where, I shop a lot on Amazon. I've never seen Rufus. What is it?" So, I mean, I showed it to him. I said, "Okay, you click on this button, and then this thing comes up." And like, we who are in the, Amazon seller community, we're more focused on Rufus and the Q&A, and we're trying to extract prompts. We've actually built tools to extract those prompts and then do stuff with it, et cetera, et cetera. But most shoppers don't know anything about it. But that doesn't mean that it's not scary. It is, because all it would take is for Amazon to make this interface more mainstream. Like if the search results or the search bar was to be tweaked or re-engineered in any way, that just makes it like have a conversation with your AI assistant right here, and that becomes the norm, then like overnight it would affect everything, because Rufus gets to be the gatekeeper. That's how I'm looking at Rufus right now. Rufus gets to be the gatekeeper of what's shown, what's not shown. Even this price history, what I've been noticing in all the scraping that we're doing is that it does show up sometimes, but in some cases it doesn't. So it's up to Rufus. If it runs out of things to say, then it starts showing price history and stuff like that. I mean, it could become more like prominent, but at the moment it sits at the bottom of at least 10 questions. It's not the very first thing that's shown. It's probably that Andrew has been clicking on this for a while. So, and I do think that Rufus has like deep product knowledge, and it knows everything about not only how you describe your product and how your images describe the product, but also everything that people say about your product, not only on the Amazon platform, but outside as well. So it's picking up signals from everywhere, and it knows everything. So there is no hiding. That's basically the point of Andrew's, post here, that there is no hiding. You've got to be more genuine. This is what's going to force that genuine, how you show up on Amazon. So anything we do from here on kind of needs to keep that in mind, because Santa Claus is watching, Rufus is watching, and taking note of everything, including the price changes over time, and may come back and bite you in the butt if you're not careful.
Yeah, it's the history price graph. I mean, honestly, Amazon should probably just put that on every listing. I try to shop on my desktop as much as possible, just so that I can look at the keep a graph and see, make sure I'm not paying a super high price at the moment, or should I wait a little while and see if the price goes down if it has lots of fluctuations, you know? So I've done that with the Keepa graph for a long time. So it's nice that they're showing this, but yeah, you're definitely right, Ritu. Very few people are probably using it at the moment. And as he shows there, you very have to specifically say show price history. And if you remember the days of DOS and using a computer on DOS, not very many people use DOS because nobody wanted to remember commands. So what do you think, Noah?
I gotta agree with Ritu, especially in the idea of people not knowing that it exists. It's so interesting because things like this that come out for platforms like Amazon, I think all three of us being within the Amazon ecosystem, it's what we eat, breathe, live every single day. We see these, right? We see Rufus, we see these changes. We try and take note of how they're going to affect sellers while simultaneously how they're going to affect the industry. Andrew's post is great about the idea of like showing different pricing discrepancies, things like that. The reality of it is, though, if you probably run a poll of any kind, actually, I might just run one while we're doing this, but if you run a poll of any kind, I bet the large majority of people within, who aren't in the Amazon space, who are just consumers, probably don't even know Rufus exists. And if they do know that it exists, they don't know the extent of using it in this capacity, right? You show somebody, somebody just asking a question, it's so easy. Show price history, for instance, is not a question that the average consumer is going to be using Rufus for. It's not. I think this is super interesting and like a tool that can be utilized outside of something like Keepa, right? Which I don't know why you would, because this is a free version, a free thing that you can get from Keepa. But either way, I think that's interesting from a seller perspective. But I think from a buyer perspective, how many people know that Rufus exists? How many of them use it actively to shop right now? We're still very much in the beginning stages of AI in general. And I think Rufus is, for all intents and purposes, it's pretty much a chatbot, realistically, right? That's kind of just built into Amazon system. It has some Amazon custom functionality, but it really just, for average consumer, I think, isn't going to be all that much of a difference. Maybe for more tech savvy ones.
I agree right now. It's not something that most people are going to be using. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, for sure, that's going to be a complete different story. But we're still in such an early stage with AI. It's kind of like the internet. It took a while for the internet and people to get comfortable using the computer to buy products online and stuff before it really took off. I think AI is going to be a lot faster because it's going to make things simpler. A really good application is the AI summaries of the reviews. I mean, I've started using that all the time on products that I buy. That's one of the first things I go down to read what the summary of the reviews show to get a better idea. So things like that are really helpful. A graph like this in the Rufus prompt is, it's fine. It's good that it's there, but the usage is going to be really low. I think the better usage would be, having that graph when you hover over the price or something like that, so that consumers can see, have a little link that says price history. And when they put their mouse on it or touch it, tap it, I guess, on the phone, it brings up a price history chart or something.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. I think there was a comment that just flashed by, and I agree that price history, the show price history, is actually a prompt that is displayed by default. It's not something that you have to type out. It's probably that Andrew actually clicked on it, and that's how he got. So he's saying that It shows up every 1 to 3, almost every 1 to 3. Yeah, I mean, it also depends on where you're searching from, and each person's Rufus is gonna interact in a slightly different way as well. But
Mhm.
I agree. So that's something that Amazon is trying to modularize, which means that your idea, Todd, could very well be a manifestation of how this actually shows up. The show prices stream might actually, that part of Rufus might actually be split out into where it's supposed to be, which is where people are actually looking for the price. I mean, the
Yeah.
proximity matters, and that's where they're probably going to split all of these prompts out. They're probably going to sprinkle all of these prompts out the way they've already started doing, right? So there's a couple
Mm.
places where these prompts show up. Number one, they show up in autocomplete. So the last three of the autocomplete nowadays, especially if you have a broad term, they will be Rufus, right? Then right under the image, there's often like 3 or 4 prompts that are just embedded in the page flow, so you can actually see them. You won't miss them. It's not something like is hidden in a pop-up or anything like that. But
Yep.
essentially, all of Rufus's functionality will be modularize, split out. That's my prediction. That it's going to be showing up where it needs to be, and I think things are headed in that direction. So that's one. The second is that I think we're headed into an age of conversational shopping because like for example, the big shift that happened for me last year was that I stopped using Google for most things. Like I'm asking chat, I'm asking based on a bunch of different things that are not just keyword based, right? So that
Mhm.
conversational, um, research or whatever has already happened for a lot of people, and that's a behavior shift that Amazon is capitalizing through this. Now, when that gains, some momentum, it will be easy for them to simply swap out their search bar with a conversation. It just starts with a conversation. What are you looking for today, type of thing, and it would be
Yeah.
put as many words as you like into that bar and we'll figure it out and we'll show you. So that's why I'm saying that Rufus gets to be the gatekeeper, because whatever you have trained Rufus on through your historical changes that you make on your listing, et cetera, are all absorbed and noticed, and um, will be used for or against you.
Yeah, I would agree 100% that eventually Rufus will just be incorporated into the search bar because I'm the same way. I mean, I use Grok for just about everything. Grok and ChatGPT, they're each are better at some things than the other. But I find myself routinely, like if I do a search for something, I end up just getting frustrated and jump over to Grok and ask the question there, and you get it immediately. So yeah, I could definitely see, and Amazon's got a giant platform. So if they're able to integrate their AI right into that search bar and have that massive audience start using their AI and have it actually work properly, that'll be important, of course. But yeah, it could be a huge opportunity for Amazon, even over like Google, right? Because Google struggles with incorporating AI into their search results because they don't want to cannibalize their ads and things like that. But Amazon could totally do a better job than Google can, or easier job, I should say, of incorporating it and not losing the ad sales and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, talking of ads, Rufus is very much showing ads in the flow, right? I'm seeing ads. I think at one of Andrew's posts or somewhere he's mentioned that he actually saw a video ad also in inside of the Rufus chatbot. So that's, Amazon will protect their ad revenue for sure, given how well they did in Q4.
Absolutely.